Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. We got to talk some more Seahawks this morning, and specifically, we got to keep talking about the stuff that went wrong against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Still reeling a little bit from that loss. I think a lot of us still are. Some people are dealing with it a little better than others, but whoever you are as a Seahawks fan, and however you feel about that game, and however you feel about this team right now, we want to understand and dissect what went wrong and what we can do to make it not go wrong next time this situation comes up. So, yesterday morning, I talked about the defense because the defense did let me down on Sunday. They did not get enough pressure on Tannehill, given the fact they were playing against backup offensive linemen, and the game management at the end of the game in that final 3 minutes was atrocious. But other than that, defense, I really can't put a lot of that game on them. And a lot of people said, and I agree with this, if you want to blame one side of the ball for losing that game, it's the offense. The offense is more to blame than the defense for that game. And I agree. I think that's absolutely correct. The defense was playing fine at the start of the game, and then the offense could not sustain a drive, could not stay on the field, could not keep the defense on the sideline, and eventually they gave in. Any defense will do that. So the offense is the side of the ball that bears most of the blame for what happened on Sunday. That's definitely the case. So, in thinking about the different things that we can talk about from that game on Sunday, I think one thing that a lot of Seahawks fans are wondering right now is, where were the tight ends? And I wanted to do a little bit of work to try to figure out what the answer to that question might be. Where were the tight ends? Why did we only throw 2 passes the whole game to tight ends? Why did we only complete 1 pass for, I think, 3 yards? What kind of a game plan is that after what happened last week against Indianapolis? So let's dig into it a little bit. So on your screen right now, you can see a still image from Sunday's game. And what I have done here is taken images from 11 first half plays against the Tennessee Titans. 11 plays. And these 11 plays all have the following attributes in common. They were passing plays. They were plays where the Seahawks offense was on the field. They all took place in the first half. And they all had at least one tight end on the field. So I wanted to get an idea of how we were using tight ends. And we're going to start by taking a look at just the first half. Now, keep in mind, the offense in the first half was okay. It wasn't great. The first half sucked. They left some points out there for sure. They gave up some sacks on Wilson. It was not great. But it was much better than what we saw in the second half. And if we had managed to keep up what we did in the first half, in the second half, we definitely win this game. So this is the better half, but I wanted to go over as much of the game as possible. So I decided to start here, and in a future video, specifically tomorrow morning, we'll take a look at similar plays in the second half. Now, this is not every passing play that the Seahawks ran with tight ends on the field, but it is a lot of them. In fact, it's most of them. I didn't have time nor the resources to get every play, but I got enough plays to give people an idea of how we might have utilized tight ends and why we're all sitting here on Tuesday wondering why we didn't throw passes to tight ends when it worked well against Indianapolis. Okay, so 11 plays. Let's start with this one. We're going in chronological order. This one took place with 11:23 left in the first quarter. There are 2 tight ends on the field on this play. Gerald Everett lined up on the left side of the offensive line, and Will Dissly lined up on the right side of the offensive line. So 2 tight ends set. Basically, all that happened on this play is that both guys blocked. Will Dissly, one-on-one, blocked Bud Dupree and actually did a phenomenal job of it. You can see in this still image right here that Will Dissly is blocking Bud Dupree one-on-one, and Gerald Everett crosses over from the left side of the line to the right side of the line, basically just slides across and blocks a blitzing defensive back. So both guys are just blitzing. That was the play call. That's what they were told to do. And this play ended in the 51-yard reception by Tyler Lockett that set up our first field goal. So not used in passing patterns on this one particular play, the first play that we're looking at from Sunday's offense. So this play worked well, and both guys did an effective job allowing the play to happen. Obviously, if Bud Dupree gets into the backfield, the throw doesn't happen. So, okay, that's play number one. Let's see here. Okay, this is play number 2, and this is the 3rd and 4 that takes place at 9:40 left in the first quarter. So we have one tight end on the field here. I have notes over here, by the way. That's why I'm looking over here. Everett is lined up to the left side of the offense, and it's 3rd and 4. So this is actually a great down to try to get the ball to Everett for a little 5-yard gain to move the chains. Now, Everett does a chip block on a blitzer or a pass rusher, and then runs a shallow crosser 2 yards down the field. You can see him here running from left to right across the field, and he's not going to get the first down even if the ball gets thrown his way. It's well covered by, I think this is Kevin Bird, and there's really nothing going on here. Even if you throw it to Everett and he catches it, he's not getting the first down, and Wilson is immediately pressured, and as you can see, Everett is just coming out of his break, and Wilson's already scrambling to his right, and he's got a pass rusher right here, and he's got other pass rushers to worry about as well as the play goes on. So Wilson never really looks at Everett, and there's really nothing going on here with Everett. He's not a good option on this play. This play ended up being the incomplete pass to Lockett, who was open in the back of the end zone, and that's play number 2 for you. Okay, this is play number 3. This was with 1 minute and 31 seconds left in the first quarter. There's one tight end on the field. He was Gerald Everett, and he lined up in the slot on the left side. So he lined up around here where my mouse is right now. And this screenshot comes a couple seconds after the snap. You can see him over here. He basically runs a 10-yard inside slant. So he runs straight down the field for about 10 yards, and then he kind of sort of slants to the inside. Wilson never looks to the left side of the field here. And that's understandable because he has Freddie Swain open on the right side of the field down here. Wilson basically just throws it to his first read on this play. Swain catches the ball, runs after the catch, and picks up about 9 yards and a first down. And based on what we can see in this image, which is not the whole defense, Everett seems fairly well covered as well. So Wilson gets the ball to his target. His target manages to run for a couple extra yards to pick up that first down, and the drive stays alive. Okay, now we have play number 4. Okay, so this is another 3rd and 4. It's the first play of the second quarter, and we have one tight end on the field. Everett lines up on the left side of the offensive line. Everett once again chip blocks a pass rusher. I think it's this guy right here, and then runs a shallow crosser at about the line of scrimmage. You can see here he's already turned inside and is running basically parallel to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard beyond it. And this is a 3rd and 4. Not much of an opportunity for him to get a first down, even if he does catch it, because there's a lot of defenders in this area. Now, this play ended with a incomplete pass to Metcalf up here. He would get his hands on it and not be able to bring it in, and we're punting. So that's 2 third and medium shorts where Everett is running a route that seems to kind of make it impossible for him to be involved. Now, it's also fair to point out that on this play, Wilson never even looked anywhere else except for Metcalf. He never looked to the left side of the field at all. He never really looked anywhere except for the one-on-one he has with Metcalf. That's reasonable, but this is kind of a jump ball you're throwing to Metcalf on what is a 3rd and 4. Do you have to do that? And why isn't Everett ever getting schemed open? Why is he just running routes that defenders can defend him on? Like, there's nothing going on here. That's one thing that really stands out to me on this play, which was a pretty significant play because it ended up forcing a short offensive possession and a punt. Now, we would get the ball back because of a roughing the punter, and that gets us to our next play, play number 5. We have one tight end on the field, and it's Will Dissly this time. So no Everett, Dissly's in the game. Dissly lines up to the right side of the offensive line. You can see him circled in red here, and he is blocking purely on this play. He is blocking Danico Autry one-on-one, and he does a good job, but Wilson isn't able to get rid of the ball soon enough because it doesn't seem like anyone got open, and Autry ends up getting the sack. Definitely not going to put this one on Dissly because you're not supposed to be able to block Danico Autry one-on-one for that long as a tight end, but that ends up being the end result of this play. The only tight end in the game is left to block, and he ends up giving the sack because Wilson can't get rid of the ball soon enough. Okay, next play. This one's play number 6. This is, I think, 2 plays later, 3rd and 14 for the offense, and we don't really see any opportunity to utilize the tight end here. Now, in fairness, it is 3rd and 14. You want to get the ball downfield, but we have one tight end on the field. Everett lines up on the right side of the offensive line here, and he chip blocks a pass rusher and then releases into a shallow flat on the right side of the field up here. I don't have it pictured because this screenshot's from the chip, but basically all Everett does is run into the flat, and it's 3rd and 14. So throwing to Everett is not something that you can do unless maybe you're trying to get into field goal range because you only need maybe 10 yards to get into field goal range, but you're not going to get a first down that way, that's for sure. So Everett is basically not involved in the play despite him nominally running a route. Wilson's looking downfield the whole way, never looks at Everett, and ends up getting sacked by Danico Autry again. So another play where it seems like the tight end just isn't even given the opportunity to get involved. Okay, let's jump forward to play number 7. This is the next drive with about 8 minutes and 10 seconds left. This is an interesting play right here, and it does give some credence to the idea that the Titans quite simply played really well in this game, and maybe we need to give them some credit for taking tight ends out of the equation. So we have 2 tight ends on the field. I circled them both, but at the snap, Everett's on the left side of the offensive line, Dissly's on the right side of the offensive line. And both of them run to the flat on the right side of the field. So Dissly just at the snap turns and starts running towards the flat on his side. Everett turns to his right and starts running across the line of scrimmage to the flat on the right side. So these guys are basically running in a line. Dissly's leading out here and Everett's behind him. And Wilson is rolling towards these 2 guys at the start of the play. And as soon as he gets the snap, he starts running out towards his right. So to my eye, it looked like the play was designed to be a quick toss to one of the tight ends. Maybe it would just gain, 5 yards. Maybe it would just gain 4 yards. Maybe it would just gain 2 yards. But it seems like there was a plan here to quickly flip the ball out to Dissly or out to Everett. However, there was an unblocked pass rusher. You can see him here in the image right here. And this completely disrupts the play. Wilson is forced to stop rolling out to his right, has to make a quick movement to evade the pass rusher, and ends up instead throwing the ball over the middle to Metcalf, who is right here. He's not open here, but he will be in half a second between the linebackers. So Wilson ends up stopping his rollout and instead just fires it to Metcalf over the middle. Metcalf picks up 16 yards on the run and catch. So it ended up being a good play, but it seems like the Titans defense was able to completely take the tight ends out of the equation here when they were absolutely planned to be the target. Okay, so that's play number 7. Let's go to play number 8. This is a little later, and I believe that same drive, 6:48 left in the second quarter, and you have Will Dissly lined up on the right side of the line, 1 tight end only, so there is no Gerald Everett on the field, and all Dissly does on this play is block a rusher one-on-one, and he holds up fairly well. He doesn't run a route, he doesn't chip block and then release into a route, he just blocks, so I didn't even bother showing it. You guys can trust me. Now, this play ended in the 63-yard touchdown by Tyler Lockett, so yeah, downfield throw, trying to burn the secondary deep, and the tight end's not really involved. Okay, Play number 8 is in the books. Let's go to play number 9. And all these plays came from that beautiful 1-minute drive that we ran at the very end of the first half. So 3 plays that we're going to take a look at here. First one comes with about 1:05 left in the second quarter. There's one tight end on the field. It's Gerald Everett, and he lined up in the right slot. And Everett basically runs a 10-yard hitch. So Everett basically runs in a straight line down the field for about 10 yards and then turns inside at about the 10-yard marker. And as you can see, he's not quite at the 10-yard marker yet. He hasn't quite run the inside slant yet, but he's kind of bracketed. He's got 2 defenders right here. He's not open. There's nothing going on here. He doesn't really have an opportunity to get involved in this play. Now, this play ends up getting checked down to Travis Homer, who you can see right here, coming free in the right flat, and Homer ends up running for about 11 yards. First down, gets out of bounds. It's a good start to this drive. So once again, Everett just kind of taken out. Okay, play number 10. This is a little bit later in that drive, 56 seconds left. Everett is lined up in the right slot yet again, and Everett runs a quick out to the right flat. So basically he just runs out for a few yards and then turns to his right and runs toward the sideline. So it's basically a quick out to the flat, and he is open, as you can see. He does have Kevin Bird right here, but he is open. However, on this play, Wilson never even looks at him, and there's a good reason why, because Freddie Swain is more open. Swain is wide open in the left flat. He catches the ball out here. Wilson's already releasing the ball at the time of this picture, and Swain catches it and runs for about a 10 to 12-yard gain. So, completely understandable why Wilson never made it that far in his read. Swain was far more open than Everett was. And now we have time for one more play here. 2nd and 10 from the 11 with 23 seconds left, or, well, 25 at the start of the play. And we have, again, Gerald Everett lining up in the right slot, this time the right inside slot, because we had 3 receivers up there. And Everett basically ran 6 yards and then slanted to the inside. And as you can see, he's fairly well defended here. It seems to me that there's a linebacker right here and a safety over the top. I don't think there's anything happening here. And this play ended up in the Lockett pass interference, where Wilson just kind of flung it close to wherever it is, but tries to get it to Lockett. Lockett gets interfered with, ball's at the 1. Next play is a Carson touchdown. So that's all I have for this video. Those are 11 plays where there were tight ends on the field who could have been involved in the passing routes in the offense, and they were either blocking, or they were well covered, or Wilson simply didn't look that way. It's hard to know, and if these still images aren't giving you enough information, then I definitely suggest you go watch the plays again. But it seems to me that the Titans did a pretty good job of covering tight ends in this half, and that's a big reason why. But there were definitely 1 or 2 plays where the lack of their involvement is a little confounding. We're taking them out of the play with how we're using them. But I'm going to finish this conversation in a video tomorrow morning where I take a look at similar things in the second half. So in the second half, the offense played very badly. In this first half, it was a problem, but it was okay. In the second half, it was just bad. So maybe we'll learn more there. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Seems to me that other than a couple of plays, the lack of tight end usage in this first half was somewhat understandable. But the second half, we may not feel the same way.